Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. It is time for the Team Liquid Legacy Star League Season 2, Round of 16. Yes! Alright. So, if anyone is unaware of how this is going to work, I'm going to do just Group A today, because the format of the group is going to include some best of threes now. We're actually using Sonic-style groups. We're going to go best of one for the first two matches, then best of three winners and losers, and then best of three for the final set. So since we're going to have more games, I'll just do one group today. So I'll do Group A today, Group B tomorrow, and then C and D, possibly both next week, but we had some scheduling issues, so we might split them up. I'll probably make some sort of an announcement about that at the end of the cast. Anyway, let us have a quick gander here at who's going to be playing. So as I said, just Group A today, it's going to be Sziky, Busy, whoa. I almost said Bisu there. That would be an interesting mistake to make. Sziky, Busy, Draw, and Bakuryu. Sadly, not Bisu, but you know he wanted to play in TLS, but it's a little bit of lag coming over from Korea, so you know he decided not to participate. Anyway, yeah. So today we have our previous champion from last season of TLS, Sziky, playing in the group in what many people are saying is the round of 16 group of death, or at the very least, it's got probably the highest proportion of fan favorites. So of course we've got Sziky, who won last season and is pretty much undisputedly the best foreigner in the scene right now. We've got Busy, who actually wasn't really active around last season of TLS, so he didn't participate. And he seems to have come back for kind of the end of Gambit's Cup, and then for this season at TLS, and he's a very, very strong Terran player, in TVZ in particular, I think. Very, very strong, and in my opinion, one of the few people who could maybe take a best of three off of Sziky, although I guess we'll have to see what happens today. He was actually my hope to knock Sziky out of the ISL 3, the International Star League, but unfortunately, I think they met in the round of 8 in that tournament, and Sziky like 3-0'd Busy or something. Or maybe it was a 4-0, maybe it was a best of 7. No, it must have just been a best of 5. Anyway, Busy didn't even win a game. So that's the last match that they played that I can remember. I don't know if they've played any practice games or anything since then. Of course, they did both play on SAS in Gambit's Cup. In fact, Draw also played on SAS, so three sort of teammates here, although Busy is a bit of a mercenary. Anyway, the other two players, of course, are probably the two of the more popular players, at least in terms of fans. Bakuryu, the Stash Zerg, and Draw, who will hopefully provide us with some entertaining games today. He's going to have two Zergs in his group, so I'm looking forward to some amazing PVZs from him. Not sure how he's going to do against Busy in the first match, though. His PVT is his weakest matchup, but yeah, looking forward to seeing what happens. Anyway, the first match, the opening game, is going to be a ZVZ between Sziky and Bakuryu. And it is just a best of one, so best of one for the first two matches. And it's going to be on Wind and Cloud, so we've changed up the map pool for the round of 16. We're going to go Wind and Cloud for the best of ones, and then for the best of threes, it's going to be Wind and Cloud, Outsider, and then Fighting Spirit. So I think that has been a long enough of a ramble here, and we can just get into the first game. So, without further ado, Sziky versus Bakuryu. Here we go. Alright, here we go. Into a game with no music? No, there is music volume. Oh, looks like it's just the Zerg theme taking a little while to start up there. Throwing me off my game. Alright, anyway. At the bottom right is the yellow Zerg. We will have Mr. Bakuryu, the mustache Zerg. And at the top right, as the red Zerg, we will have Sziky, the defending champion of the TLS. This is the first time we're going to get to see him play in this season of TLS, because of course he was one of the 4 players seeded directly into the round of 16. The top 4 finishers from last season did each get their own round of 16 group, so well, it's a pretty nice advantage for them. Bakuryu, on the other hand, made it to the round of 16 last season of TLS as well, where he got knocked out in a pretty crazy group, actually. It came down to the final match where he played against Nemu. And well, I mean, it was a pretty weird game. Nemu basically kind of just rolled over Bakuryu in a TVZ. It didn't seem like he did anything particularly amazing, but I was talking to Bakuryu about it later on, and he seemed kind of thrown off by like Nemu's timing and things. He actually compared Nemu's play in that game to something that Busy would do, which was quite interesting. So so we'll see if he actually plays Busy in this group. Now one interesting thing about Bakuryu, I should probably call it the builds here. Bakuryu has actually gone for a 9 pool, it looks like, and Sziky has gone for an overpool, I would imagine that's what that is. And of course both players kind of vertically, and the overlords did meet in the middle, so they know exactly where each other's spawns are. So I don't really think Bakuryu's 9 pool is going to be able to do too much here, at least with the Lings. Of course he will have slightly faster tech up to Spire as well. Yeah, the interesting thing about Bakuryu is in his round of 24 group, he was in the same group as True Touch, and he actually had to play True Touch twice, once in the first match, and then again in the final match, and he beat True Touch both times, even though True Touch, of course, very strong Polish Zerg player. I would say possibly or probably a favorite against Bakuryu, in fact. So that was a bit of an upset there. And it was interesting because Bakuryu had actually specifically said before that group was played that he would prepare for True Touch's style. See, Bakuryu, of course, very smart player, so he actually specifically practiced to beat True Touch, and I would imagine that, or I would hope that, he's done some equally good preparation here to beat Sziky. He's getting in here now with the Overlord. He's going to see the Lings popping out, so he should know roughly what the build was, or rather, should know exactly what the build was. And it looks like he's actually just going to camp the bottom of this this ramp here. So he's not actually going to attack the hatchery. He's just going to force Sziky into a bit of an awkward spot. The drones do drill through, and it looks like Bakuryu is still going to get a good arc, though, on Sziky's Zerglings. A couple more Zerglings coming in as well. And Sziky actually in a bit of trouble now with only a couple of Zerglings left. A few more Zerglings coming out from him. And remember, Sziky does have Defender's advantage here with the shorter reinforcement route. He's also closer to his own mineral line, so he can obviously pull more drones if need be. These 3 drones are still alive. Now Bakuryu choosing to attack that hatchery. Because he's already gotten a favorable Ling exchange. The remaining Lings, as you can see, one of them is pretty heavily, 2 of them are pretty heavily damaged. It looks like Bakuryu's speed now does kick in. One Ling died there. I'm actually not sure whose Ling that was, but it looks like Sziky is going to force Bakuryu back a little bit here. And now that the second hatchery finished, note that Sziky will have the larva advantage here. He'll be able to make Zerglings and or drones off of 2 hatches, which is going to give him the numbers advantage. But it looks like Bakuryu getting caught in a bit of a corner, but is still going to get a good engagement here. Bakuryu is taking out the Lings, but no, Sziky coming out with more Lings, and it looks like Sziky will be able to hold here. Bakuryu unable to take down the hatchery, gets it down to 500 HP, but in the meantime, his lair is done, his Spire is started. What is Sziky? Sziky has not even started his lair, so Bakuryu now is probably going to go into defensive mode. He knows he can't keep up on numbers because he's only got 1 hatch against 2, so he's going to play defensively, probably get a Sunken Colony and just defend and try and use that Spire tech to go for the win here. It looks like he's also hidden 2 Zerglings on the side to go for a counterattack. Very smart. There is the Sunken Colony in a nice position. His drones will be able to drill it. It's kind of blocked off by the spawning pool as well. The Spire is perhaps slightly vulnerable. You can see there's a bit of a surface area on the bottom as well. You know, some players actually would build it like right here in that little gap to get minimum surface area for Zerglings to attack it, but I guess we'll see if that makes a difference. Whatever the case, Sziky is going to be forced to make some spore colonies here if he doesn't want to just imminently die to these incoming mutas here. It looks like Bakuryu does even have enough Zerglings to hold here. It looks like Sziky didn't even make that many Zerglings. Okay, he's making a few more now, but he's also droning up. I guess Sziky realized that Bakuryu would have enough time to actually defend and get a Sunken Colony, so he didn't even like overcommit with the Zerglings, which is really interesting here. Bakuryu actually has more Zerglings here than Sziky does. And Sziky also very smartly is leaving the Lings at home. Look at this, if Bakuryu sees this, so these 2 Lings that he was going to use to counterattack are just going to come home now because he realizes that Sziky is not going to, you know, make some schoolboy error and let 2 Zerglings run in and kill a drone or 2. He's going to be very well prepared, and looks like, yep, there's the Evolution Chamber on the way, so Sziky is going to start sporing up here. 1 in the mineral line. or one in each mineral line rather, and then one kind of in this or by the ramp. And whoa, it looks like there's a bit of a Ling breakout. Sorry, and it looks like Bakuryu using the Ling numbers advantage to actually break out of his own ramp. Sziky, is he? I mean, he should be have enough to, or be able to make enough Zerglings to defend here. You can't really go one hatchling against two hatchling and actually expect to win that. And ooh, it looks like Bakuryu getting a little bit antsy. Gonna get pushed back here, but in the meantime, looks like Sziky just holding position at Overlord at the base. I guess there's no point really running it. He just get run down pretty easily. So he's just gonna leave that there. Buy himself a little bit of time to make sure the spores get up. So the spores are now up. An additional creep at the front. I wonder if this might even be for a sunken colony. He doesn't really need a third spore that quickly, I don't think. So perhaps slightly concerned about a combo Mutaling attack on the front here. And it looks like Bakuryu is gonna start rifling this down. You might be wondering, by the way, about the spore positioning. Ah, it is a sunken. This spore positioning might look a bit funny because, you know, you say, okay, why didn't he build it close to the mineral line? By the way, there's two Lings actually running in the back. Bakuryu somehow almost saw it coming and pulled Lings back. He's got more Lings coming out anyway, so I don't think it's really going to do anything. But this spore positioning prevents a kind of sneaky attack where if your ramp is unprotected and there's a gap, too big of a gap that's not covered by spores, the player with Mutas can actually camp Mutas over the ramp and run Zerglings up the ramp into your base. It looks like Bakuryu, though, is just going to go for the front with the Zerglings. It looks like Sziky, with that spore the Sun Colony was not enough for him with Bakuryu miking it down. Bakuryu now going in, but he does not have enough Lings to really do anything. Whoa, sorry about that. And GG from Bakuryu immediately. Wow. That is a little bit of a surprising GG there, but I guess Bakuryu was just completely committing to the Mutaling attack there. Was not droning up at all, and when that failed, he just taps out. Alright, so Sziky takes game number 1. Not a huge surprise there, I don't think, but man, I definitely thought Bakuryu was in a better position in that game. Anyway, that means Sziky will go on to the winners match, and coming up next, we'll have a PVT between Draw and Busy. Don't go anywhere.